Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Still Salty Podcast. We are Central New York's premier business podcast where we go deep with business owners and civic leaders to find out their origin story, what's going on with their business right now, and what the future looks like. My name is Anthony Marone. I am the CEO of the Marone Law Firm. Happy to be with you today.
I'm CK, the COO of the Marone Law Firm.
And we have a special third, we have a special third co-host today. Go ahead.
Hi guys, Olivia Brown here, Medicaid paralegal. Happy to be here.
Thanks, Olivia. We are very happy to welcome our guest to the show today. Michael Sgro is a business coach and leader in Central New York. He offers professional coaching services, all kinds of good stuff. We're going to talk about with him today. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Good morning. I am fabulous. On my fourth coffee. Couldn't be better.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into it. So, crazy times right now, obviously. We're in the middle of this pandemic. Parts of Central New York about to reopen, phased reopening here. Why don't you tell us how you're doing as a person, and then we'll get into the business stuff.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just saw an article this morning that suggested that there are some people who are doing well because they like riding the rapids, right, of sort of life and business. Mm-hmm. And so I've sort of been that person for a long time. And so I enjoy sort of riding the rapids. And so I'm doing well, but it's also been purposeful that I've slowed things down, added a lot more reflection to the work, a lot more time and consideration thinking about what I'm doing versus just riding the rapids because it's comfortable. So I think I've done well. I'm doing well, but I'm also much more reflective these days and probably slowing things down where I can.
Mm.
But also really going a little crazy as a dog dad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So we have, there's been no social distancing between me and Jonah. And so there's probably been a total of maybe 2 or 3 hours that we've been apart, where I've gone out and done something, got groceries, and he wasn't used to going into his crates. And so those were situations, if you will. And as a coach, I could solve a lot of human issues, not dog issues. I'm not good.
And you live downtown, right? So what's the vibe like downtown right now?
Well, at the start of the pandemic, it was silent. It was quiet. This is before, a lot of restaurants started curbside pickup and things like that. So there was just a bit of silence. I live right next to 690. And so there was not traffic. There was not, there would be times in the day where there was literally no traffic for an hour, which is unusual, when you think about 690 and the intersection of 81. So there was a lot of digital communication. I'm one of the what we call Downtown Champions. And so we have a Facebook group amongst us residents. There's about 4,000 of us that live downtown. Wow. And probably, around 300 people who are in this group. And the group started populating much quicker when the pandemic started. So a lot more conversations digitally and just connections. And so it was sort of quiet. Now, there's a bit of a hustle. You got a lot of restaurants open doing sort of curbside pickup. Folks are walking their dogs. They're getting on the creek walk if it's nicer weather. So life is certainly popping up. And certainly all the great flowers are blooming and things like that. So
it's actually a nice time to walk around downtown right now because it's not super packed.
It is. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I have a question for Michael Sgro. When you're walking Jonah downtown and you see someone, how difficult for you as a people person is it to kind of resist any sort of like your usual interaction? Unfortunately, I've been finding that people aren't making eye contact anymore because they think that they could, get sick through eye contact. Maybe. It's just like really anxious time. So how are you dealing with that as a people person?
Yeah. When the pandemic started and we were sort of growing accustomed to wearing masks and it became more prevalent and folks sort of crossing the street when they saw somebody, right?
Yeah.
I was immediately triggered. For anyone who knows me, even in all the training and coaching I do, I always use the example of like walking to work I live about 3 blocks from my office downtown. And so I would just share the stories pre-pandemic of like walking to work and smiling at people, being a little extra, and folks, maybe crossing the street then and avoiding me. So it wasn't a new phenomenon for me, you know what I mean? Because I'm just sort of, very joyous and just want to, wish everyone a good morning and things like that. So I think what's changed for me is that I understand it, I get it. And so I immediately sort of think, this person might be having a tough day. They might be nervous. They might be sad. And so I don't need to be triggered by what's going on. I could just make it as comfortable as possible. I don't have to imagine a story about like why they're crossing the street or putting their mask up. Although that was my favorite game back in the day, like name their story, kind of create a whole profile about the person and where they're going, what's going on. So that's changed for me. And I just offer a smile, under my mask as best as I can. I'll like pull it back just so you can see my lips, So I guess I'm still freaking people out.
Solid.
Yeah.
It's funny is one thing I've noticed is it's intriguing that you can still tell when people are smiling at you through their eyes. And it kind of made me feel a little better as we all kind of end up in this, kind of face covered status that we can still tell through our eyes kind of how we're feeling. So
right.
I read yesterday a restaurant or bar reopening plan. I was reviewing the reopening plan, and one of the things that they're doing, which I thought was interesting, is they're not going to have their employees wear the traditional nose mask, but they're going to get the face shield, because she said in the plan that seeing our face and having that interaction is such a huge part of our business that it wouldn't make sense to have nose and mouth covering. So they're going to have like the full-on medical face shield, which is a whole nother kind of different
There's
thing.
something beautiful about that too, right?
The
idea of customer service and a smile and being able to see people. There's something really beautiful about that. Yeah. It's almost like our superhero garb, right? I'm thinking about what I'm going to do for my own business in terms of space and social distancing, but I'm also thinking about outfits. So I already have on order one of those inflatable unicorn outfits where I'll be disguised as a big, huge unicorn walking the streets of Syracuse.
Love it.
Yeah. So
you gotta let us know, so we'll break out the GoPro and follow you around.
100%. I connected with a woman yesterday who I mentioned that to because she has one. So I commented on her Facebook, and she's like, "We're starting a herd," and I was like, "I'm on it." Like, I love it.
Amazing.
So
I love it.
It's going to be a unicorn herd.
Hashtag unicorn herd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spread joy.
It's so perfect. Michael, give us tell all the listeners kind of how this all started for you. Are you a local guy? Did you grow up here? And eventually how'd you end up where you are today?
So local. I grew up here, went to school here, raised here, all the things. Syracuse born and bred. I started off on the north side like many Italians back in my day. And you can hear Jonah growling, right? Because he's like a little upset, like we miss the old days, okay? And what's interesting about like the way I grew up, while like a lot of people grew up the way I did on the north side of Syracuse, I sort of never was what you would call vanilla. I was always someone who sort of stood out, maybe for the wrong reasons back in the day.
No way.
There's a great memory that just came up on Facebook yesterday where I'm surrounded by these old Italians on the north side of Syracuse, and I'm sitting there in a rainbow shirt, swear to you, rainbow shirt, doing one of these. And I was 4.
It's a great picture. I've seen it.
So,
Love it.
So that's the kid I've always sort of been. And so one of the things I think I started to learn as a kid was there was some magic about that, and it sort of drew people in. And so as a kid, sort of what really prepared me to be a leadership coach. As a kid, I watched a cartoon called The Get Along Gang. And these were all different animals who got together and solved mysteries and problems together, and they were all different but together. And so this idea of get along gang. Well, the neat thing about this cartoon was there was a kit that you can order to create the get along gang in your community. So picture it, 1987, north side of Syracuse, the get along gang. Mike Sgro is the moose in the get along gang. And there's about 40, Irish, Italian kids. We're all going to Lemoyne Elementary Park, doing arts and crafts, learning school. My cousin and I were like the teachers teaching school, and we would keep textbooks from school every summer just to teach the other kids. And so I did a lot of that, growing up, and in every sort of circumstance, I ended up being that person. When I was in college, I went to Lemoyne College here locally. I was an RA, and I think I majored in RA. I didn't really go to class. Sorry, Father Hebron. But I loved all the things happening outside of class and sort of getting people together and all that. And then just embarked on a career as an RA. I worked in higher education for 20 years and did all the things at a college. And it was really awesome preparatory work for what I do now, of helping people, bringing people together. The basis of my business is around community development, and then all comes from that. When people want to hire me to train or coach, all that stuff comes out of really high motivation of people because they've gotten to know me and know that I could be a helper to them. Sort of in the same way you get to know your RA in college, right? First off, like they're an awkward person down the hall, right? You're like, oh, they're so excited about life. And then all of a sudden you build a relationship, and then go to programs and you sort of do your thing and you develop. And so that model sort of works for me today, and so that's been a cool way I grew up and how it's kind of connected to today.
So I had to room with my RA for the first 4 days of college, and it did not go so well for him. Sorry, Jeff.
Jeff, if you're listening.
Sorry, Jeff.
If you're out there. Canisius College in Buffalo, New York. So it was, they have this thing where you go out, like it was Thursday night was the big go out night. He found me in the dining hall the next day. He's like, I found you a room. You're moving out today.
Oh my gosh.
So that was the end of my living with the RA. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool part too. People remember their RAs,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I remember one of my positions working in alumni relations. This is at Lemoyne. I worked in alumni relations, and I remember doing an event in Philly. And I got there, and this one alum came in who went to school when I went to school at Lemoyne. And he walked in. He's like, Michael Sgro, you wrote me up. And I'm like, well, can I offer you a drink today? And so it was just a really interesting turn of events.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I love that.
Remember their RA.
I love that.
Yeah. And we do know, Michael, that you worked in higher education before you opened your own business in downtown Syracuse. So how did you decide to go out on your own? What inspired you, and kind of give us that backstory in starting your own business coaching? Yeah,
you used the right word in there. I was inspired. I got this really nice award 3 years ago from Lemoyne at my 20th college reunion. And I remember sitting there 100 pounds overweight, 2 ulcers, and really not being able to receive what was sort of happening to me. I was stressed out. I was trying to service everyone in my job and do all the things, right? And really not take care of myself, frankly. And I'm sitting there listening to all the other awardees. Everyone got their award before me, and it was all these amazing people doing amazing things. And and it got to me, and I was like, they're like, he Facebooks really well and brings people together. And when I heard that, I was just like, that's really nice, but I'm not serving my purpose, And so it was such an honor to get that award and be in this greatness with these other Lemoyne graduates, that I said to myself, I'm not serving my purpose, and I need to align that. I might be good in higher education, doing all the things, but I wasn't really serving my purpose. And I quit. And then people were shocked that I quit because they didn't realize that I had quit a job previously 3 times without a job. But I knew I was going to be okay because I had a calling, and I wanted to kind of just map out and bring together all the things that I was doing to help people and put it together so I could help anyone, not just one college campus. I had worked at 5 universities. And so I felt sort of locked in to that environment and only helping those people, right? Which is wonderful. And it was a great experience, but now I can help anybody, anybody at all. And that there's some beauty around all of that. So it just sort of started that summer 3 years ago. And I thought first, I'll just be a higher ed consultant because I know higher ed. And then a friend of mine introduced me to a business coach who runs a professional program of coaching. And we met on a Friday. I was enrolled in his program that Monday. And so it was just, everything sort of clicked really quickly in terms of knowing what the next step was going to be. And then I think in the first few months, I spent a lot of time in coffee shops. Thank you, Cafe Kubal, for just intelligence gathering. And so I would sit and just listen to all the things that people were talking about in coffee shops. And there was just a lot of pain. There was a lot of discomfort of what people were doing at work. And this one did this, and this one said this. And it was so abundant. I was like, you know what? I can help with that. And so I sort of then started defining how I can help people in sort of the professional arena, and basically how to people a bit more effectively, right? And get the results they're looking for by building stronger and more effective relationships. And so that was sort of where I pivoted and how I started the whole process.
Yeah. And it's so great that you know what you're capable of, and you know the power of what you do and how you can help others. So how did you get people to buy into that? Because I think that some people may think that, these things don't really work. I can't improve on myself just from doing, these sort of things. So how did you get people to join on with you in the beginning?
Great question. And it's actually such, I share it with everyone, particularly businesses, because I actually don't have a sales funnel. I don't cold call people. I don't do any of those things that business people tell me all the time. You should be doing these things. And I have sort of always understood from being a kid, RA, professional, Coach Sgro today, that you can attract, you can act as a magnet. I believe in law of abundance. And so when people are motivated and they have similar mindset, they will find you. And so I don't really go out and find people. I welcome everyone to all the community development stuff I do, because I'm genuinely interested in building relationships with everybody. But I found the secret is building relationships with people. And relationships lead to many benefits. So there's not just business benefits from that. There's social benefits of that. There's sort of like the cool vibe of knowing the people, right?
Absolutely.
There's really great benefits. And so that's basically my business model, which is who I am as a person, and I decided when I started the business that I wouldn't grow into a firm or bigger than myself, because I want to make sure that I'm in touch with, I'm an excellent individual contributor, and I don't want to get away from that. I spent a lot of time managing a lot of people and growing organizations, nonprofits, all the things, boards. And I think where my magic lies is in my individual contribution. And that's the lane I love. And so that's the lane I stay in. But that's how it's happening, and frankly, I benefited greatly having worked at 5 universities. I've built a lot of relationships. So a lot of what I'm doing has been building on all those relationships of the past. I mean, how many thousands of students I've worked with, alumni, who are all at organizations saying, hey, Mike Sgro, can you help me with this? Hey, Mike Sgro, can you do one of those great professional adulting presentations for my team? Sure. Yeah. And so everything sort of begets something else. And it just sort of is a train that hasn't stopped. And it's just been, I'm so grateful. So very grateful.
And having worked with thousands of people, you're going to come across every type of personality. I mean, like every type of person. Have you met someone in any of your years doing this that you just didn't feel like you could connect with? You couldn't get through to them? And how did you overcome that? Because I can imagine if you have, that was probably not something that you were probably really frustrated with that, because you are a people person and you connect.
Yeah. Well, I think I learned a long time ago that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. So that's part of it. So that's half of it. Like knowing that I'm not the helper for everybody, right? I'm direct, I'm playful, I might be too much. And so some folks might not find that to be favorable for their kind of experience that they want, right? And if they're willing to push past that, then it's going to be magical. Like it's going to be awesome. Like you're never going to let go of me. And I don't mean that just for work purposes. I mean, like, I'll never let go of you. Like I'll find, I will stay in relationship with you if you want me. But
guilty as charged over here. I mean, I'm never letting you go. Never. Not happening.
But so that's part of half of it. The other half was what I learned from Oprah. And so the Oprah principle is wanting someone as much as someone wants you. And so I've always believed in the last, 15 years, when I sort of got that message from Oprah and understood it, that I can't shame someone because they don't want to be in a relationship with me, whether as a friend or a colleague or as a coach. But I don't not like them or hate them as a result, right? Too many people, when we get triggered by, you're not my friend, or I don't want to do business with you, it turns into like almost a negative stance with that person. And I don't do that. I'll keep you at zero. Like I don't have any feelings. It's okay. Like that's not. There's nothing bad about this. Like we're just not a fit, and that's cool. But if you want me, I want you. And so like you want me at 10%, I'll give you 10%, right? And so I work sort of in that principle that if you want me, let's go all the way. Let's make it fun. Let's make it great. Let's work together. But I don't have a problem with letting go of an outcome in my mind, whether that's business, friendship, partnership. I sunset it and I'm good. And I'm not like thinking about it, feeling about it, worried about it, but I also believe too, that we get second chances with people, so if I really want to have a partnership with somebody or a friendship with someone, maybe I'll give it another crack, and I'll try something different to make something happen, but I don't get caught up in it, I guess is what I'm saying.
I think that's really powerful, because although I'm not personally a business owner or business leader, I think that a lot would have trouble with people walking away or not buying into what they give and what they preach. So, I mean, we all do firsthand know the power of Michael Sgro and what you can do for not only individuals, but businesses. And, that's important to know that not everyone's going to buy in, but I just have a feeling that they will eventually. They know that they need it. It's really important stuff that you do.
That's right. Really well, yeah, there's something about that that's shared amongst coaches and trainers out there, because we aren't worth our salt if people don't see us apply the things we're telling them in our own business, in the business of coaching, right? So like I pay attention to that. Like I can't tell someone, a business owner, hey, you need to really consider this, if I'm not doing it, right? So there's I guess what's called that social proof of what someone is doing that becomes trustworthy, right? And so I think that's what you're talking about there, is that I try to demonstrate the very thing I'm trying to do for train, coach, as my own business, so that there is proof that, one, it works, but two, I'm not telling you something different that I'm not doing myself.
That's great. So you're building your business. You started a few years ago. Let's go back pre-COVID-19. They say 6 months ago, end of last year. What's your biggest business worry? Like, what's on your mind? What are you planning for? What's pushing on your buttons at that point?
Well, I was just thinking about, one of the things I've just sort of gleaned anecdotally. I don't have research to support this. Just my own thoughts, having at that point run a business for 2 years, was sort of my concern or worry about, in general, emotional intelligence in humanity. And that's like a big question, right? Like, what are you thinking about on New Year's Eve? I'm thinking about humanity's lack of emotional intelligence. Small questions like that. So
Yeah.
I gave that a lot of thought, because I just think that that's where I've started to zero in, and what I thought my 2020 goals were going to be was to really examine how to be more effective in that space, and encourage people to spend the time learning that particular skill and competency. And so a lot of what I started to do at the beginning of the year was a lot of presentations, like 20 things you need to do in 2020, right? Clever, groundbreaking. And half of those strategies I used were all emotional intelligence behaviors, right? So like I made a real commitment to that idea, because I was concerned most about how we were peopling, and more importantly, how people were taking care of themselves. And come to find out 6 months later, this couldn't be any more important. And just seeing the flocks of people who have been signing up for all these trainings for an EI, it warms my heart. But people, I think, are ready to hear the message and understand what they can do for themselves, the power of human, and what they could do to kind of navigate right now, and navigate even their own feelings about right now. So that's what I was thinking about. And then come to find out, it couldn't have been a better thing to be thinking about at that point.
Yeah, totally.
One of my favorite Sgroisms, if you will, is using people as a verb. And I love that idea of it. I remember you introduced me to it a while back, but it's something that's always stuck with me. And I think there's something to that of you adding that as a skill. But, as we, even as Anthony and I look at our own business and start to think about, what does it look like next, right? We got this giant curveball that none of us really saw coming. And, things like Zoom meetings and FaceTime and Skype and Google Meet and whatever the next video chat system is, they're kind of consuming our lives. What does that mean for your business? Is it a hindrance? Is it a tool you found and been able to kind of adapt to and use to your advantage? Candidly, you seem like the most busy person in Syracuse to me. You're always doing something, which is amazing. And you're always helping the community. So I'm just curious.
I think because I was using Zoom and working with clients outside of Central New York, so around the country. But what's increased has been that population of people, because more people are now used to doing this, that they see it as a tool to get access to coaching and development and training and all that. So it's not because I changed something. I just think more people have been adapting to this model, and so are showing up on my radar. So like this week, somebody in LA, Nebraska, and Dallas, who found me. So like the power of the internet, and so that's, I think, pretty cool about sort of what's happening. But I don't think I did something to engender that. I think more people are just, this is the way that they're accessing information, learning, development, and that sort of thing. So I give power to the people for using the resources that are around them, and not literally just around them, but anywhere.
But go ahead.
I was gonna say, and one of the things I know about you is you love doing kind of workshops and grouping people together. And I know I've seen you recently. You've done. I participated in it, so I know you've done the EI series. I saw you did a 7 Strangers reunion. What else you got going on, and what's next?
Yeah, so because things are so well received online, I'm doing a leadership retreat tomorrow with 7 strangers who don't know each other.
Nice.
And are all going to participate in, they all, for those familiar with Extended DISC, it's a tool to kind of identify your human behavioral profile. So they've all done that together online. And now we're going to have a retreat tomorrow so we can learn from each other. So there's been an increased demand of like opportunities. And so I'm just trying to figure out thoughtfully, in a measured way, like each month, what can I provide? So I guaranteed now moving forward, I'm going to do an EI training series every month for free for anyone that wants it around the country. I'm in a flip-flop time. So there's going to be a 7:30 a.m. series for more of the East Coast people, and then a noon series for more of the West Coast people. We're in the noon time this month. We go back to 7:30 next month. I have like one sort of, I would call like a provocative topic, like something I just say that gets people's attention. So like one of those a month, just to have some engagement and get people to think differently about their concepts. Last month we did the difference between boundaries versus setting expectations, and that was a really powerful conversation. So I'm doing enough like different types of things, but all of it's small scale. I'm not looking to change the whole world. I'm really looking for people who want to change themselves. And
I think that's the biggest thing that sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I think the biggest thing that I've noticed is that even though like your business as it existed was so heavily face-to-face, right? Like we'd come to the shop and sit in together and work together, or even the retreat that you did with us, there was so much gained by the face-to-face presence, but you've been able to pivot that and still keep that like small, intimate feel, even though we've been on the EI breakfast series that you did. There had to be almost 100 people on there, but it still felt very intimate to me, because it was 7:30 in the morning. I wasn't really into my day yet, but that I think is the biggest thing that I take away from what you've been able to do, is that you had a business model that was even though you did remote coaching, but it was so much better, I think, in person, but that's been able to pivot virtually. And I think that's interesting and presents like a lot of other opportunities as well.
Yeah. Well, and the basis of my business is community, right? And so if we just commune together, however that is, around a circle table, around a circle online, community is the basis. And so that's the sentiment and feeling I want everyone to leave with, right? That I'm not looking to make money off of you. I'm looking to help you, right? Now, if you want transformational help, yeah, you're going to have to pay money.
You got to pay a little bit. Yeah,
but information is free, right? And so I got that from a fellow coach who said that all the time. And I'm like, that's powerful. Like, I'm sharing information. It's free, right? And I have my own sort of tenacity, spirit, the Sgroisms, the show as a way to hook people in, make them feel comfortable, and have them learn. But for me, I'll share as much information anytime, anyone that asks. But if you're looking for transformation, well, okay, now I've got some programs that'll help you do that. And then that's how we move forward, right?
That's how you stay in business. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I mean, I think that's applicable to what we do, right? We get requests all the time for free information, and it's always trying, the challenge is to try to find where you are comfortable drawing the line with people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Sgro, as a good friend of ours and also a fellow Syracuse business leader, we're so happy that you are thriving. You and your business and what you're doing for people is really great. I know I personally really benefited from the EI series. I loved the 7:30 in the morning. I love starting my day with Michael Sgro. So we're happy to have you on today. So let's pivot to some fun questions now.
Yes.
Okay. So the first one we have is, tell us something that is true.
Speaking of fun.
Speaking of fun.
The way this works.
Special, special guest.
Yeah.
For those viewers that are lucky enough to join us on our video portion of this, you get to see little Nino in the background. Maybe I should ask Nino this question.
Nino Marone.
I'll leave it for Michael Sgro.
Loves
so tell us something. He does. Tell us something that is true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
Wow. That we can get anything that we want. Anything.
Wow.
So I can get some new Malnati's pizza from Anthony.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Can we? How?
Can we?
Tell me more.
And it's just as a quick thing, because I can't help myself. Part of that is because if we can vision it, we can achieve it, right? And a lot of us don't vision it. We say we can't, we won't, and then guess what? We don't. We just don't. So I just believe that we can get anything.
Does that mean, I don't know if you guys heard me, does that mean I get some of the Anthony's Lou Malnati's pizza? Because I really want it.
Listen, I need all that pizza for my new segment, Manja with Marone, hashtag I'll be the judge of that.
Oh man, that's good. Well, if you want another judge on there, you don't even like melty cheese. So I'd be happy to take one of those pizzas off your plate.
We like do it in my backyard, like social distance, Facebook Live.
Yeah, you just throw it out there like a Frisbee. I'll catch it and I'll eat it. It'll be perfect.
It's perfect.
No, but that's really powerful. I think that, if you really put your mind to it and you put the time into figuring out how you can get from A to B, you're right. But it's just about putting in that time and really figuring out what it is that you want, what it is that can benefit you, and then who or what can help you get there.
Yeah, that's right. So, and there's such a consistent message that successful people, whatever that means, like celebrity types, business leaders, millionaires, whomever that might be, they all say the same thing. They visioned and they pursued that vision. So that's, it's not just I'm saying that. This is what successful people have said about how they got there.
All right, Michael Sgro, my turn. And this is probably the equivalent of making you decide which is your favorite children of your children. But what is your favorite local CNY business?
All right. So will it be cheating if I don't just say one?
No.
Okay. I have 4 categories.
All right, let me get my pen out.
Hold on. Came prepared today.
You can't ask a business leadership coach that question without getting them in trouble, right?
All right.
So I just have to have permission this one time on this podcast, all right? All right, so I have 4 categories. I got eats, cool pros, P-R-O-S, not with tasty treats, and nonprofits, okay? In my eats category, Postabilities, the fish fryer, and a pizza regionale.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. So those are my eats.
Instant cred. Keep going.
My cool pros, like professionals, are the folks at the Lab Creative, the Mauer Agency, and Common Space.
Nice.
Great. Yeah.
My tasty treat folks, Cafe Cubal, the ice cream stand, and of course, Glazed and Confused.
Yeah, right.
And the last category, my nonprofit folks, ACR Health, the Downtown Committee, and my alma mater, Lemoyne College.
Awesome.
So that's my list. All right.
Thorough.
That's a great list.
Gave it some
your favorite, and then he gives us 12. Come on.
And of course, come around law firm.
Hey. Sponsored by this episode of Still Salty. Sponsored by the Marone Law Firm. A tough law firm fighting for your rights. No, wait, that's not us. All right. Now, my favorite segment of the pod is This or That, the CNY edition. So I will give you 2 choices for most of the questions, and you've got to tell us you've got to pick your favorite, and you can qualify it. So if you want to editorialize, feel free. We're lawyers, so we like all the, any disclaimer you want to add, feel free. So here we go. This or That, Taste of Syracuse or the Great New York State Fair?
The fair.
Okay. This or That, Syracuse basketball or Syracuse football?
Oh, dear. Basketball.
Yeah.
Sure. They dribble?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Then we're good. That's it. That's the one I like. Yeah.
Yep.
Mute.
Give me a minute. Where was I? This or That, the Italian Fest or the Greek Fest?
Oh, Italian Fest.
Hey, Pesano. Yeah, I hope they're still going to have it. I mean, it's not supposed to be till September.
I just imagine a lot of cars with all the cooks in the car just sort of handing out from their car window. That's what I think.
I mean, you could set it up. You could set it up, close off, make it like a parade through downtown and just, yeah.
That's right.
So much of the Italian Fest and all these festivals, though, is about the the communal gathering and seeing all your old relatives and people that you knew from church. Yeah. So I don't know.
Live music, everything. Yeah.
Live music, the bocce. I usually get to introduce the bocce match as a sponsor, so I'll miss that. Okay, we got a two-parter: spring or fall in Central New York,
Fall.
and then summer or winter.
Winter.
Ooh, interesting.
Part 2: fall or winter in Central New York.
Fall.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Central
think
New York loves
you're
their fall.
common ground here. Yeah.
Can I share why?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
of course.
Because that's where I have the most seasonal tchotchkes. So I'm big into tchotchkes, and so I have them all color-coded in boxes by season, and I have the most for fall. So there you have it. Yeah.
Well, no, I have the most for Christmas, but yeah, I have a lot of fall tchotchkes at the office. I've been missing my office tchotchkes. I went into our little storage room and I was like, oh, couldn't put out the Easter tchotchkes.
Mm-hmm.
Very sad about that.
Yeah.
I brought some of them home. Like I brought home my Dr. Fauci.
Yeah.
Great.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
These are tough times without our work chalk.
You gotta need them.
Never forget. Never forget.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This or that: apple fritters or apple pie.
Apple pie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This or that: Onondaga Lake Park or Green Lakes.
Onondaga Lake, 1974. Onondaga Lake today.
What was it like in 1974? Tell
Well,
us.
I don't know. I was not born yet, but I was born 25. But I'd say Onondaga Lake. Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
OLP.
I mean, you could introduce a third option if there's a different, park that you enjoy, you want to share with our viewers. Shout out to Schiller Park on the north side. Yeah.
Yes, Schiller Park.
Okay, this or that: lights on the lake or the Clinton Square tree ice skating.
Yeah, the tree lighting, Clinton Square. Yeah.
Can you see that from your apartment, or is it blocked by?
No, I'm a little blocked from it. We can hear it, but we can't see it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I don't know if you're a chicken wing guy at all, but chicken wings, ranch or blue cheese?
Blue cheese. Yeah.
This
Olivia,
is when I first meet someone, I'm not kidding. This is one of the first questions I ask them. I don't know why. I am just such a blue cheese, a chunky blue girl. CK here is ranch all the way. And I said, if I like them, if I really like them, which I really like CK, I'm gonna let it slide. More blue cheese for me. But
yeah, I'll tell you. I mean, pre-pandemic, not now. All right, pre-pandemic, I would ask the driver, "Hey, do you mind going back and getting the blue cheese?" Because because I always test it. I'm like,
yeah.
Not now though. You can't do that now, right? It's just
that's awful. No one would do that.
There's some people that would. We tried to do Tully's takeout yesterday, and I thought it would be curbside. Like everybody's doing curbside, right? Like we're coming up with a model to do curbside at our law firm. And they're like, no, we don't offer that.
Mm-hmm.
What? They made you go through the whole restaurant. It was Armageddon type scenario. Very upset.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Calling it Dan Giamartino today. Sorry. Side note. Last is a three-parter or three choice. Hot dog, Cooney, or Italian sausage.
Italian sausage.
Yeah, you do peppers and onions.
It depends on the day.
Yeah, same. Yeah, same. Where do you Gianelli's guy? Where do you get your?
So now that's tough. I didn't touch that. There's
sorry.
All the places.
All the places.
All of them. Agreed.
So hold up, I got a bonus question that I'm going to throw in here. So I learned through the power of social media last night that both Anthony and Michael are big PB&J guys.
Yes.
And I learned this through our friends at Glazed Confused, who are rocking out a Fillet Friday special that is just some kind of PB&J masterpiece.
Want it so bad.
Ooh.
So I am a self-proclaimed peanut butter purist. I'm a jelly hater. I don't want any of that stuff up in my sandwich. But my question to you, gentlemen, is, let's play out that scenario. You got your bread, you got your PB, and then you're about to ruin it with that sweet gelatinous fruit goo. What's your flavor of choice?
Oh, come on. Strawberry, no doubt.
Yeah.
My mom makes homemade strawberry jelly that's to die for.
Yeah.
Okay.
She
Strawberry.
picks the berries. She picks them herself.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing.
All right.
Yeah.
That's legit.
Strawberry. Even as a kid, like, when you get a popsicle as a kid, everyone always went for the cherry. And I was like, is that red one strawberry? I was very fussy about strawberry. I wanted strawberry. So, yeah.
What would the other option be? Grape?
I like raspberry.
I like a raspberry. Is nice. Yes.
I like
raspberry with the preserves is nice. I will tell you, up until the time I met my wife, I'm still a picky eater, as you guys know, but not that you can tell, but I would eat one peanut butter sandwich separate from one jelly sandwich, and you could not use the same knife. So CK, you probably like that, right? Because I'm not commingling the.
Maybe.
Yeah. So now I'll throw it all on there together. But yeah.
I would always do peanut butter first because I thought it was the better of the which one you want to contaminate. So I start with that and then go to the jelly with the same knife. Yeah. That was my hack.
So what? You'll just eat a peanut butter sandwich, CK, or is there something else that you add to it?
No, I'm just straight PB. My family's big fluff family, which I think is equally gross personally. But OBB, where are you on this debate?
Oh, I love everything. Peanut butter and jelly. I actually really
all the condiments. Any kind.
I am the self-proclaimed condiment queen. Love them all. I like crunchy peanut butter, and then I'm not really picky on the jelly, although I would tend to lean strawberry or raspberry. Yeah. But definitely PB and J.
We can get very meta on this between like jelly and jam. I mean,
I'm not ready. I don't know.
I don't think we got time for that today.
Yeah, I mean, just saying, right? All them jam haters are going to be all over this.
Hashtag jam haters.
Yeah.
We're going to start trending on Twitter probably. There's going to be some sort of something. You better watch out. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, the Institute of America is all over this. I'm telling you.
Hard-hitting topics today on the Still Salty podcast.
Millions and millions of our fans are gonna have opinions. Well, I think. Does anybody have any more bonus this or that they want to throw out?
Good.
That was a thing last night on Instagram, though, for sure. CK was very opinionated about the thing that I think you didn't really sell the donut though, because the thing is it's their yeast, which is different than their normal cake mix.
That's true.
Like that crushed peanut butter on peanut on top, jammed packed like a jelly donut. So like if you like a jelly donut, it's
which I do not.
It's combining two of my favorite donuts.
There you go.
It's the best that they do is the cannoli one, the one that's stuffed with the ricotta. Oh my God.
Yeah, I will say Fillet Friday is hands down the best ongoing.
There it is.
In all of CNY.
Only takeout only though, so I can't wait in that line too. Yeah, look at that. Oh.
Wow.
Well, I'll tell you, the benefit of me living a block and a half away from them means I will be first in that socially distant line tomorrow.
It is.
Yeah, text me when if the line's not long, and then I'll leave my house and drive.
For your side of my pickup, right? Like my pickup. Yeah, I love it.
I know, and I see your comment, Michael Sgro. Mother of God, this is epic. That jelly is calling to me. Red heart.
Yeah.
That's when you know it's serious.
True.
Love it.
So good. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Still Salty Podcast. Thank you so much, Mike, for coming on.
Thank you.
I know, we were so happy to have you. As always, still tough.
Still thriving.
And still salty.